The luxury of celebrity life makes it look like they live in another universe. For the cast of Doctor Strange, that's kind of true. Keep watching to see how the masters of the mystic arts spend their millions. Benedict Cumberbatch has been taking the stage and gracing our screens for the last 2 decades. His long and thriving career has earned him a fortune of around $40 million. Sorry to break it to everyone, but Doctor Strange doesn't actually live on Bleecker Street, that we know of. His digs are still pretty sweet. In 2015, Cumberbatch bought a mansion in the Los Angeles Hidden Hills neighborhood for $12.6 million. It's a Tuscan-style house, with the main materials being stone, terracotta, and marble. It's a modest 13,000 square feet with 7 bedrooms and 6.5 bathrooms. It has all the conventions of a nice house, with a grand foyer, living room, dining room, and gourmet kitchen. The fun is in all the extras. The house has a vintage-style theater room fit for a movie star. And outside, there's an extensive garden, a swimming pool, a hot tub, a cabana patio, and a basketball court. And it's no surprise that Sherlock Holmes himself owns real estate in the UK. Also in 2015, Cumberbatch dropped £2.7 million on a 4-story, 5-bedroom mansion in North London. He and his wife Sophie Hunter spent years renovating the house to be more modern. It includes a reception area, a living room, a sitting room, a large updated kitchen, and a 70-foot garden. They also added a rear extension to the house. Unfortunately, not even celebrities are safe from the Homeowners Association. The rebuild was bogged down by neighbors' complaints for years. If only he could actually open a circle in the universe and make them go away. His other property is a London apartment that he bought in 2008. The original top-floor flat cost £475,000. In 2010, he bought the unit below for an additional £300,000 and connected them. Now, it's a 3-story Victorian townhouse with 3 bedrooms, original fireplaces, wood floors, and a bespoke kitchen. But the biggest perk is definitely the south-facing rooftop terrace with views of the city. When he and his wife bought the new house, he actually put up the apartment for rent. For the low price of £3,385 a month, you and your 2 closest friends could live in Smaug's house. And this Avenger isn't just a real estate tycoon. He also is an avid car collector. When he isn't putting cracks in the universe, this wizard is flying down the street in a fleet of luxury cars. He's a big fan of supercars. He has 2 Jaguars, a Jaguar XJ, worth an estimated $76,000, and a Jaguar F-Type, worth around $74,000. On top of that, he has a Mercedes S500, worth $110,000. In 2019, he became a brand ambassador for the MG GS and ZS in India. So on his modest days, he's driving an MG GS. It's a fairly basic SUV that will only set you back between $20,000 and $36,000. The most expensive ride in his collection is his Lamborghini Urus 4x4, worth a whopping $222,000. He went with the classic British racing green, maybe as a homage to the Time Stone. It's a Lambo for the whole family. Although, Benedict's passengers should enter with caution. He hit a cyclist with it back in 2019. Don't worry, the man was fine, or at least fine enough to hit Cumberbatch in the face for hitting him with his car. Seems like an even trade. Elizabeth Olsen has been an actress her whole life, and she's taken the MCU by storm as Wanda Maximoff. Her acting credits and her time as a brand ambassador for Bobbi Brown Cosmetics have earned her a net worth of $11 million. This Olsen sister is extremely private about her home life. However, she has not been quiet about her love for England. In her words, she's living a British dream. In a 2019 interview with Architectural Digest, she says she lives in the Richmond by the River Thames. The magazine harped on her minimalist style and disdain for tchotchkes. She says the only area in her house that's fully stocked is her kitchen. She loves to cook and always has plenty of spices and condiments to play around with. She even has a set of knives that she travels with so she can cook on the go. She did a fridge tour with First We Feast in 2021, and the kitchen proved to be a chef's dream. It featured a full gas range, butcher block counters, plenty of cabinet space, and a seating area with a door to her backyard. The minimalist doesn't stop with her house either. The WandaVision star drives the most basic vehicle there is, a Toyota Prius. We wonder if this was a point of contention between her and Benedict. The car is worth around $25,000. It may not be super fancy, but it's definitely good for the environment. So, there's that. Although Lizzie Olsen seems pretty frugal when it comes to her spending, she spares no expense when it comes to cosmetics. She's a brand ambassador for Bobbi Brown Cosmetics, and their products range in price from $18 to $140. She's made multiple tutorial videos for the brand in case anyone wants to see the process in action. We assume that she gets most of the products for free now that she's one of the faces of their brand. However, on the Bobbi Brown website, she details her favorite products. To purchase all of them costs $214 before tax and shipping. Although she is a natural beauty, it helps that her skincare costs the same as a car payment. It seems that this star is purely a fan of simple comforts. A car that gets her from point A to point B, and a fridge that works. When she spends her money, it's for small things like a cup of joe from Alfred Coffee in Studio City. Admittedly, Alfred Coffee is a little pricier than your average Dunkin'. Their cheapest coffee is a plain drip for $4.50, and she seems like a latte lady. If there's one thing that even the thriftiest of celebrities can't resist, it's a cute puppy. Olsen has been seen walking her dog on multiple occasions. From photos, we can guess she has a black and white Labradoodle. This breed can cost anywhere between $500 to $4,000, depending on whether you buy, adopt, or rescue. It's definitely an investment, but who could resist that face? She's proof that fur babies are priceless. By now, the secret is out that Sir Patrick Stewart will be joining the MCU in the new Doctor Strange film. From Star Trek to X-Men, his career has earned him a net worth of $70 million. He's a UK native, but prefers to buy American when it comes to real estate. In 2012, he dropped $2.5 million on a duplex in the Park Slope neighborhood in New York City. The apartment is a little over 2,100 square feet, with 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. The living, dining, and kitchen area is 31 feet wide, with a wall of Marvin casement windows. The luxe flat also has 2 wood-burning fireplaces, a laundry room, and a chef's kitchen. The place is a fortress with a towering iron gate and an 8-foot door and a private keyed elevator. Stewart also owns property on the opposite coast. In 2019, he bought a mansion in Hancock Park, Los Angeles for $4.3 million. The 1920s Mediterranean revival-style home is a throwback to the beginning of Hollywood. It's 4,500 square feet, with 4 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms. The house is a West Coast castle, fit for a knight like Sir Patrick Stewart. Right inside, there's a grand foyer with a curved staircase and a huge skylight. Further on, there's a step-down living room with a cove ceiling and fireplace. Other extras include a library and a music lounge, currently housing a baby grand piano. And the outside is just as beautiful. The property is covered in tropical plants that provide enough privacy to keep the X-Men secret. And there's a pool and a triangular spa, perfect for learning how to run on water or swim for the non-mutant folk. Too many X-Men jokes? The backyard also has a pergola with a dining table and a built-in barbecue. It wasn't expressly mentioned, but we can only assume there's a ton of garage space between his 2 homes. Otherwise, where would he keep his collection of over 20 cars? Back in the day, Sir Patrick Stewart was a race car driver. There's no better car enthusiast than a racer, and he only can be described as an enthusiast. His collection is so large and diverse, he needs to use the Dewey Decimal System to organize them. His vintage collection starts with the car he learned how to drive in, a 1939 Ford Popular. The original price for the car was just over $600, and it's now worth $28,000. He has an Austin A35 worth $27,000, a Ford Squire Estate worth $8,000, a Morgan Lightwood race car that he actually raced and worth upward of $50,000, a Cadillac DeVille worth $32,000, a Tomboat Sunbeam worth up to $51,000, a Honda Prelude worth up to $6,000, a Buick Riviera worth up to $100,000, an Alfa Romeo Alfa Sud worth up to $38,000, a Peugeot 205 GT worth up to $32,000, a BMW 635 CSI worth up to $70,000, a Mercedes 420 SEC Coupe worth up to $60,000, a Toyota Celica worth up to $9,000, a Jeep Grand Wagoneer worth up to $25,000, and a Jaguar XJS convertible worth up to $30,000. His modern cars range from practical to super, kind of like his acting career. Among the more subtle cars is a Lexus RX 450h, worth around $56,000. He also owns a Porsche Panamera 4E Hybrid, worth $80,000. He said that although he loves all of his cars, he drives his hybrid vehicles the most. He also owns an Audi Q7 worth $57,000. The queens of his collection are his supercars. He has a Porsche 911 worth $100,000 and a McLaren 650S Spider worth $270,000. You haven't seen true joy until you've seen Picard behind the wheel of a bright orange McLaren. The funny thing is, he didn't start off as a car guy. In a 2021 appearance on The Late Late Show, Stewart told James Corden he had the worst car of all the Star Trek Next Generation cast. He knew he was making money, but he didn't know how much, and he bought a used Honda to drive around in. Maybe it's the Honda Prelude he has in his collection. It's crazy that at one point he was rolling around in a little sedan, and now he has enough cars to fill up an airplane hangar. Rachel McAdams has been an icon since 2004. Depending on your persuasion, she'll either be Regina George or Allie Hamilton forever. After almost 2 decades of great success, this mean girl has a net worth of $16 million. Unlike Regina George, when McAdams is off screen, she likes to be incognito. She's not on social media, and most of her life is private. Her largest known purchase is a townhouse in Toronto. It was worth an estimated $750,000 when she bought it. It has since been renovated. The house was built in the 1800s and features wild grasses in the front yard and a private backyard rooftop with a view of Toronto. The house is fairly unassuming in the neighborhood. Her garage got tagged once, which shows celebrities aren't immune to vandalism. But it's clear that she feels safe there. Toronto has a high rate of bike theft, and yet, passersby often see McAdams' bike parked outside. She's an advocate for green living, and biking is her preferred method of transportation. Although she prefers to brave the elements, she does have a car for occasions that require it. And despite having a small fortune, she actually made it to the hot cars list of 10 cheapest cars driven by celebrities. She's rolling around in a red convertible Mini Cooper coupe. It's a pretty basic car, but Rachel seems to lead a pretty basic lifestyle. She's a wholesome lady. When paparazzi catch her in the wild, she's riding around on her bike with a little basket in the front. She'll even ride in heels. We can see the future, and it's celebrities pulling up to the red carpet on bicycles. In a 2013 interview with Ellen, she admitted that her bike was rickety and made a lot of noise when she rode it. With all the money she saves on housing and cars, you'd think she would just buy a new bike. In photos, it's hard to tell on what kind of bike she's riding around on. It looks like a generic two-wheeler that you can get at Walmart. At the end of the Ellen interview, Ellen gifted a Schwinn bike to Rachel. Schwinns are middle of the road in the bike community, and they can cost anywhere from $300 to $1,200. We can't decide if it's exciting or disappointing that the Queen Bee of North Shore High lives so conservatively, but at least she's trying to stay green. A crowd favorite from the original Doctor Strange, Infinity War, Endgame, and Shang-Chi is Benedict Wong. The mystical librarian's time on screen has earned him a net worth of $3 million. Not everyone who joins the MCU is versed in comic book canon, but that is not the story with Wong. This Benedict was a huge comic book fan growing up. He loved Spider-Man, and he would always be at his local comic book shop in Manchester, reading until they kicked him out. There's even a picture of him on Instagram wearing Spider-Man leggings. It's safe to assume he spent a chunk of his life income on comic books and memorabilia. And how cool it must be to live in the stories that he read up on as a kid. What are the chances that he would play a character with the same name? Even crazier, what are the chances that he wouldn't be the only guy named Benedict on set? In addition to being a comic fiend, Wong is also part of a GoFundMe for Stop Asian Hate. He's contributed funds to the cause and promotes it on his social media. The initiative was started to help victims of hate crimes in the wake of COVID-19. He stated that his mother works for the National Health Service and has been subjected to verbal assaults during the pandemic. Giwetel Ejiofor has been a staple in TV and film since the late 90s. Some of his top credits include 12 Years a Slave and Love Actually. His impressive career has earned him a net worth of $16 million. Not much is known about what he buys for himself, but he is very active in various charities. These include GeneCo, Global Goals, Keep a Child Alive, and the UN Development Program. Ejiofor is a British Nigerian, and he contributes to the GeneCo Foundation. They organize surgical missions to fight anemia and help vulnerable pregnant women safely deliver babies in Nigeria. They also donate computers, books, medicine, and sport fields to schools in Nigeria, and they provide tuition, medical care, and professional psychology to female victims of violence, and gender inequality in Nigeria. In 2015, Ejiofor was awarded the Global Promise Award for his work with the organization. Global Goals is a set of 17 commitments made by 193 world leaders. Their goal is to end extreme poverty, inequality, and climate change by 2030, all in a day's work. Keep Children Alive is committed to empowering children and young people to focus on combating the physical, social, and economic impacts of HIV/AIDS. The United Nations Development Program aims to eradicate poverty and inequality in over 170 countries and territories. It's very clear that Xochitl cares deeply about his heritage and wants to do his part to help Nigeria and the world thrive. It's always nice to see a man with means and opportunity use it for good. Horror fans will recognize Bruce Campbell as Ash Williams from the Evil Dead franchise. Or maybe you see him and think of Coach Boomer from Sky High. Sam Raimi directed the Evil Dead films and the new Doctor Strange, so it was very fitting that Campbell was cast. Though as what, we don't know yet. He's been in films and TV shows since the 80s and has earned a net worth of $10 million. According to Public Record, Sonic Boom bought a house in Ashland, Oregon in 2007 for $530,000. The house is 2,200 square feet with 7 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. Not much else is known about the house, but Campbell is an author as well as an actor. In his book Hail to the Chin, Further Confessions of a B-Movie Actor, he describes weaponized neighbors, wayward skunks, severed deer legs, and much more. We can't think of a better place for a man who made his living off of horror films to go. He also wrote that he filmed his cameo horror film, My Name is Bruce, on his own property, so he actually does live in a scary movie. Bruce also mentions that he's a member of the Ashland Elks Lodge, also known as the Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks. Dues for regular membership are $122 a month. It sounds steep, but Campbell mentions playing cards, pool, and cheap alcohol. And they support various charities through donations. Sounds like an absolute blast. And without the director, there would be no movie. Sam Raimi is known for directing the cult horror franchise The Evil Dead and the original Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire. The Spider-Man movies alone made over $2.5 million at the global box office, and Raimi has a net worth of $55 million. With his Marvel fortune, Raimi has bought a house in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood in Los Angeles for $11.8 million in 2008. There aren't a lot of public details about the house, but from overhead footage, you can see the house is huge and there's a pool in the backyard. And he and his wife share 5 children, so it can be assumed that they have at least 4 bedrooms, if not more. One interesting Easter egg to look for in Raimi's films is a yellow 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88. The car, nicknamed the Classic, is featured in almost every film of Raimi's professional career. It's the car that Ash Williams drives in the Evil Dead films, and the car that Uncle Ben drives in Spider-Man. If not driven by a character, it appears in the background. The car was originally purchased brand new by Raimi's father in 1973. At the time, it would have cost just under $5,000. Now in good condition, it would be worth up to $35,000. Of course, Raimi's Delta 88 has seen some things. We can only imagine the kind of wear and tear a car goes through on the set of a slasher film. A returning member to the Doctor Strange cast is dramatic actor Michael Stuhlbarg. Some of his most recent roles include Call Me By Your Name, Arrival, The Shape of Water, and Dope Stick. He was also the lead in the Coen brothers film A Serious Man. You may have also confused him for Joaquin Phoenix in the past because they look extremely similar. His filmography is flooded with Oscar nominations and has earned him a net worth of $7 million. And a newcomer to the cast is young actress Xochitl Gomez. Fans of the Netflix series The Babysitter's Club will recognize her as the original Dawn Schaefer. She was recast after she left the show to join Doctor Strange. She's only 15, so her time on screen has been short. However, she still has an approximate net worth of $1 to $2 million. In the movie, she'll be playing a new character named America Chavez. In the comics, America is a superhero who can open up portals, who has super strength and super speed. We're very excited to see this play out on screen. Between Sir Patrick Stewart and Benedict Cumberbatch alone, their movies have made a collective $14 billion in the worldwide box office. Even with theater attendance down, Multiverse of Madness is going to be a box office explosion. Maybe they'll celebrate with matching Rolls Royces.